Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. He is vice chairman and the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator Warner, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's just start right there. Your reaction to what you saw yesterday between the President of the United States and the man who, for a time, was his most powerful advisor, Elon Musk. And what do you think it tells us about this piece of Republican legislation currently in the Senate?
Well, first of all, again, we all knew this was coming. I had picked Memorial Day as the cutoff, so I was a few days late. But it's kind of pathetic. I mean, it makes us think how we look around the world. You got the president and the world's richest guy in this pissing match. Think about the close to 60,000 federal workers who got cut because of Elon Musk's chainsaw Doge. I'm not sure what they get out of this whole exchange. What I do think you're seeing is, who's going to make the most money off of the corruption from this administration? What feels like the Trump family is going to be number one now, and Musk's ability to make money off the administration may be undermined a bit. Back to the bill, though. The bill is the ugliest piece of legislation I've ever seen, and maybe the most disruptive. We all know the litany. It adds to the debt. It kicks 16 million Americans off of health care. It kicks millions who go to the healthcare exchange and buy their insurance there. It drives up premiums, literally $9,000 over a year period. Cuts back food aid. And all this, frankly, and I'm not against people being successful, but the bottom line is it ends up raising taxes for people at minimum wage about 53%, while giving folks at the very top hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax breaks. That is not fair. It's not right when so much is at stake.
John Howman, give us a beat as to what you think Elon Musk's appetite will be to actually playing in next year's midterms, and then please take a question to the senator.
All right. Well, I'd say, look, Jonathan, we don't know about what Musk's appetite will be ultimately, but I will say it's already forgotten that the beginning of the end for Trump and Musk, when you could see the writing on the wall that Musk was going to be leaving government on a shorter leash, on a shorter timetable than people thought, was after that Wisconsin primary where Musk spent an extraordinary amount of money, got completely humiliated in the process. And when you hear him on X yesterday throwing around these grandiose promises and illusions to maybe creating a new political party and taking on any congressperson who votes for Trump's domestic policy bill, you have to wonder whether he really has the stomach for that, or whether he is still smarting from having spent, as I said, a gargantuan amount of money on that Wisconsin Supreme Court race, made himself central to the race, and then not only lost, but lost in kind of spectacular fashion. TBD on that. Senator Warner, here's my question for you. Again, an Elon Musk question, which is, we talk about, Elon Musk's market value, how much money he might be making off this. Obviously, these are all important questions. But the thing that people in your world often say to me is that, like him or not, the United States government is going to be dealing with Elon Musk for a long time, that the threat to get rid of all of his government contracts is impractical and improbable because Starlink is so important now in a strategic sense, in addition to an economic sense. Just talk a little bit about how much the actual infrastructure and some of the defense contracts that Musk has with the United States government are things that he may be the only person, his companies are the only person who can provide that the U.S. really needs.
Yes, there are important aspects coming out of the SpaceX program, Starlink, where he does the remote communications. But I'd also quickly point out, remember there were stories popping that Elon Musk, sitting in an office in the White House, was extorting from countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, South Africa, India, that they would get no relief at all from the crazy Trump tariffs unless those countries were willing to use his Starlink service. And the incredible fact about this was the reports were he were making these calls, had the president of Bangladesh on the phone out of an office in the White House. If that is not graft and extortion at an unprecedented level, and the amazing thing is, folks like the Post and everybody else reported on it, but there was barely a blip because this kind of behavior expectation coming out of the Trump family and coming out of Elon Musk, we've almost grown immune to it. So Is Trump's assets useful for the intelligence community? Yes. But should we be taken aback and frankly try to clean up the level of graft and extortion that has come out of this operation and frankly out of the Trump family? I sure as hell hope we can, because what's also at risk here, America's reputation has not only been based on our innovation, our defense prowess, but the fact that we're supposed to be a country of rule of law. And that has been so undermined in this roughly first 120 days of this administration. I'm not sure, even with the disappearance of Musk, or hopefully the ultimate, imploding of Trump, that we're going to get that back right away. And that makes us weaker around the world.
So, Senator, on a related note, sort of lost in the Musk headlines yesterday, President Trump talked about the Ukraine-Russia conflict and suggested once more the U.S. might take a step back, that these two countries might need to fight it out like children on the playground for a bit. He has also in the past withheld intel sharing from Ukraine. No sign he's going to do that yet, but that threat remains. And, Senator, you've been speaking out about what you call the Trump administration's attempt to politicize intel. It involves a top aide to National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard rewriting analysis to align with a claim by the president, a shocking accusation. Senator, please tell us more.
Well, Jonathan, the one thing about intelligence, it's got to speak truth to power. You can't cook the books. And the irony is, and one of the reasons I voted against Tulsi Gabbard to be director of national intelligence when she said she would not politicize intelligence, I didn't believe that at all. So what we've got is the case of her chief of staff, Joe Kent, who she's now trying to promote to a different position, who went in and took what's called the National Intelligence Estimate of this gang in Venezuela, Tren de Agua, bad guys, bad folks. But the independent intelligence assessment basically said they're bad guys, but the Maduro government in Venezuela doesn't necessarily correct them. This guy, Kent, went and said, you got to change that because that might upset the president. We've got it in, frankly, email traffic. Then the folks who would put this intelligence assessment together were fired because they wouldn't bend the knee and corrupt their intelligence product. This guy is still up for a position in national counterterrorism. He ought to be withdrawn, or John Thune ought to not bring him up for a vote, because, again, undermining intelligence. I've had 3 or 4 of our top allies say to me, hey, Mark, what is going on? Can we trust you guys to share information if, in the case of, say, the Signalgate, information some shared from the Israelis that was carelessly used and could have exposed our pilots, or now you've got the independence of intelligence going to the president manipulated because you don't want to do anything that might embarrass the president. That is totally against all of the norms that have been set up. And if our partners stop sharing intelligence with us again, America will be weaker.
Yeah, an important storyline to follow in the weeks ahead. Vice Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Senator, thank you so much.